Hey guys, this is Chris Overman with Overman Power Clean. I've been wanting to put this video together for a little bit. I just got done with my first large commercial job. I really felt like I could offer some encouragement and some possible ways to get more prepared for large jobs when doing the estimating process, doing the budgeting. I'm just figuring out honestly if it's a job you want to undertake. So this job I just encountered was a job out in Dallas. It was a large commercial roof clean job, um, and about 400,000 square feet of roof cleaning. Um, so basically, how this came about was just through a connection that I had in the industry. And first step was getting the job, putting together an estimate. I didn't have a lot of time to put this together, but I used the time that I did have to make sure all my numbers were as accurate as possible. And doing that allowed me to really see what my potential for the job was, for the growth in my company, for the exposure in my business. Also, just doing something I haven't encountered before on that scale. So I really sat down before I sent over an estimate and put together a really thorough list as best as I could of my labor costs, my expenses, the equipment purchases that I needed to do. A pretty long list of, I mean, everything to lunches, to my fuel costs, to my my stay out of town expenses. Um, that really helped me prepare to really figure out what my number needs to be. Um, and also in doing that, I wanted to make a profit as this was a large job. Um, so in undertaking that, it really helped me honestly think more thoroughly about every estimate that I send out, and just making sure my numbers are on point before I click that send button on an estimate. Um, so really doing a good, thorough prep work on your budgeting is going to be a make or break in many instances, especially on a project as large as this one was. Um, Going over the scope of work, going over what, if you're working for a general contractor, knowing what their expectations of your presence on the job should be, just making sure that everything is covered very thoroughly beforehand. Any potential damages that are already on the project or things that could come back to bite you in the butt, just making sure you're doing your part on a thorough examination process of everything you're going to be covering, just to make sure that you're not missing anything and that when you're done with that job, you can put your stamp on it and say, I did everything possible to ensure this job was done the best possible way it could have been done. Um, so, showing up on a job that size, it was a little intimidating just how big it was, but you can't let that be seen. So showing great confidence in the work that you have done, showing it lets people know that you're confident in what you're getting ready to do for them. Also, it lets them know that um, it's not intimidating to you to where the point where you might walk off a job. Not to say there aren't points where you won't want to walk off a job, because if it's a big enough job, you're going to hit those marks, but you got to pass through those, and just make sure that you know take that into consideration. When you do a big job, you're going to hit trouble spots, but where you pull through versus Joe Blow down the street is going to be if you continue forward through those hard obstacles, or if you actually just walk away when it gets tough. And that's where you work with the people that got you the job. That's where you sit down and say, hey, this was an unexpected thing. Because people will work with you, especially when you hit big snags. Um, but it's much better to finish off a job versus just walk it and and say that I wasn't able to complete it just because there was some stuff in the way. Um, so I mean, on a job that size, I was doing a roof clean in preparation for a roof coating that was going on to this system here onto the roof, and basically it was an EPDM roof Had to clean it very thoroughly, make sure that the company following me, who is doing the coating on top of the roof, was going to have a very clean surface to be able to prime and do the elastomeric coating on top. My job was to basically use the manufacturer required chemicals to make sure that the membrane didn't have any soot, any carbonization on it. It's a 20-year-old roof. And so really doing thorough prep work to know what I'm dealing with, and also doing some evaluation after I've been there and saying, is this the best method to continue cleaning in the way I'm doing. So really just making sure I have enough equipment. That was a really big deal. Just doing as much as you possibly can before you hit the job. Making sure you have enough, in my instance, pressure washing hose. Making sure you have, enough footage, enough water sources, enough, everything, enough wands, enough chemical, enough crew members. That was a big deal too. Just making sure you have enough guys on site to be an extra hand, to be able to haul stuff up, roof line, and then, you're going to be left over with some stuff you don't need at the end of the job, but that also prepares you for that next big job. And that's what you're shooting after when doing something like this, because you don't want to do a one and done, because you get a name out there, a reputation that you conquered a job that size, then you'll be much more available in the market for people who are looking for good quality workmanship that you do. So I did in that budgeting process, I did a real thorough outline of what I have currently in my stock, in my equipment storage container, and pre-ordering. And some of it set me back before I had even been paid, but you got to take some of those leaps. In doing that, you're just preparing yourself the headache of not being down a few hours a day or two by not having equipment on site beforehand. Also make sure you have the job before you just start ordering. But it puts a better look when you walk on site prepared versus showing up and saying, "Oh, I didn't know I would need this," and just getting as much as possible stuff while you're there and having to take a few days to come in. In doing this video, I'm trying to build a marketing portfolio, basically. So I took a lot of pictures, probably over 500 pictures on this job of stuff from the minute detail to large scale, full coverage drone shots of the whole building, videography of before, during, and after, pictures of my crew while they're working the process. And really just letting enough people know that we do hard work. We put the work, before the check. Basically, letting people know that I'm not there to just collect the check and bounce. I want to make sure I'm doing the job done right, and they can see that in the video, that I'm really trying to be thorough, and that I'm trying to be customer minded. So really good to take a lot of marketing photos, videos, and know your audience when doing that. A lot of people don't care about up close photos of a roof line, but your audience is going to want to see the before and the afters. Obvious known thing in the pressure washing industry, what's going to be your results, but you also want to get the during shots. You want to get the ugly shots of a really hard to hit place, and then the during shots of, okay, it didn't come out as well as I wanted to on the initial run. Let's hit it again and find out what the result of putting forth a little bit more extra effort in that area to make it as best as possible rather than just subpar. A big thing is just keeping your crew motivated. I paid my crew pretty well to just keep them happy on the job. We were working 12, 13-hour days, 7 a.m. to 7, 8 p.m. at night some days, for a month straight. and that was a little bit longer than anticipated. We hit a few snags along the way just with um, kind of the operation side of what needed to be done, but overall it was really good.